Wait! Every day, millions of conversations are happening online, but whose voices are shaping those conversations? For women, the digital space has created opportunities to speak, build careers, grow businesses, tell stories, and influence society in ways that were once difficult to imagine. But visibility comes with its own challenges: being misunderstood, being judged, dealing with online abuse, and sometimes having to work twice as hard to be taken seriously. Hello and welcome to Women's World on Global Television, where we have bold, honest, and solution driven conversation about the realities shaping women, families, leadership, and society today. I am Kike Lomo Okeri, and I am joined by my co host, ever vibrant co host, Anita Patrick and Priscilla Obasi.
Hi, Kike. Good to be here.
Good to see you girls.
It seems we're doing the same thing today.
I think the tuning is coming from that angle.
It's coming from this angle, right?
Yeah,
Finland and it looks very beautiful. It's good to join us today on Women's World. Of course, we have a whole lot of things lined up for you, and what a way to talk about the digital age, because there's a whole lot around that.
There's a whole lot around it.
Artificial intelligence has come to stay, Priscilla. This is the what they call Gen Z. AI mindsets, everything. So you're going to walk us through all of that.
Okay, I'm not even Gen Z though, but the internet has actually changed the meaning of influence, right? A woman no longer needs to sit in a boardroom or hold public office before her voice can reach thousands or even millions of people. Now, through storytelling, social media, digital campaigns, and online communities, women are creating businesses, challenging social norms, and demanding accountability. But the question is, are women using these platforms merely to be visible, or are they using visibility to create real influence?
Absolutely, and that distinction is very important, Priscilla, because followers do not necessarily equal influence. A woman can be highly visible online and still have little power to shape decisions, policy, or social outcomes. So today we are asking how women can move from simply being seen to actually being heard, and from being heard to creating meaningful change around them, Kike.
Absolutely, we will be exploring the opportunities, the risk, and the responsibilities that comes with having voice in the digital age. Stay with us right after the break. Women were told to stay quiet, to endure in silence, to face challenges alone. But silence never define us.
Women are actually one of the best peace builders you can come across, because they will build peace in the home front, they will build with their children, they will build in the community, they will build at their meetings and in their churches.
Across Nigeria and beyond, women are breaking barriers, from entrepreneurs building thriving businesses to mothers transforming communities to everyday women.
Women's World celebrates all sides of womanhood. We share untold stories of women from pain to victory.
This is more than a show, it is a platform for women to be seen, heard, and to be empowered.
Every story matters, every voice counts, because women are empowered to change families, communities, and the nation.
Join us as we showcase women's untold stories.
From pain to victory.
This is Women's World on Global Television.
Your story, your health, your power. Welcome back. It's still Women's World. Our conversation today is women visibility and influence in digital age. Joining us is Ramatu Ada Ochikili. I hope I get that correctly. A program strategy, communication, and knowledge management professional with more than a decade of experience across health, gender, governance, and creative sector in West Africa. She is the founder and portfolio director of Shade of Us, an organization using storytelling, learning, and community engagement to support social change across Africa. Her work involves turning research and ideas into accessible stories, building partnership, and creating platforms that help people engage with important social issues. Ramatu, it's a pleasure to have you on Women's Voice.
Thank you so much.
I hope I didn't murder you.
Maybe help us pronounce it.
It's Ochekli.
Ochekili.
Kli, yes, Benue.
Is that Benue, right?
Yes.
Ochekili.
I don't sound British.
Some British, right?
Yeah.
It's good to have you join us on the program.
Thank you
Yes.
so much. Thank you
Welcome.
for having me.
Well, let's start with a whole lot of people. Let's take this right.
Okay, so let's begin with it, right? You work at the your organization as the Shades of Us.
Yes.
And you are well into shaping narratives, especially representing women on the space. Particularly, I have been on social media, and what I see in recent times is, women, they are influencer women, right? Some are passing the right message, some are passing the wrong message, some are influencing, some are defluencing, but social media is such a powerful space, right? And especially the Gen Zs come there to learn, to drink, and how important is it for women's voices to be well represented in the social media space?
Before we go to social media, we should look at where we currently are. So women's voices need to be represented, whether it's physically, because what is happening physically is what will happen on social media. I'm going to use a sad example and come back to something nice.
Okay.
We look at what has happened in Afghanistan, for example. The complete erasure of women from physical activity meant complete erasure of women from online activity. But here in Nigeria, there's a lot of push for women to be themselves, especially for with campaigns like Women's Day, the 16 days of activism. So it has helped more women to, one, go to school, which is important, learn business, understand what they want to do with themselves, and decide that they are their own person and can be seen online. So it's very important that the physical thing that we do is representative of what is happening online. Online is not a different world. It's just part of where we are currently. So why is it important for women's voice to be there? We make up more than 50% of this population, whether it's Nigeria or across the world. So imagine if we remove women's voices from conversation or digital platforms when we make up at least half of the world. So it's important that women are represented. And I know you said de-influencing, and that's the funny part for me. It's that regardless of how women are showing up, it's important because women are not monoliths. I say this almost everywhere. We do not think the same. We do not act the same. We do not have the same experience. So it's good that we have different kinds of expressions of women that we have on digital media platforms so that we know, especially that, there's somebody that's living a life that I may never ever live, and there's also somebody that's living a life that I might question and be like, is this really, it's good to see all of that so that we know that we are not monoliths, we are different people, we have different lives, and it's okay to live our lives the way we have it.
All right, today women can build a platform from a phone without waiting for traditional media or established institution to give a microphone. Our digital media genuinely democratized the opportunity for women to tell stories. Okay, how visibility, but can visibility also be considered?
Visibility is so important. I want to say something. I'm sure 20 years ago, all of us are old enough to have this conversation. 20 years ago, we couldn't talk about periods very publicly.
That's true.
Remember, if you even went to buy pad, you hide it in that leather bag, hide it, or if they don't give you a leather bag, you put it in your cloth and you hide it. But today, we have women who, I remember the campaign very clearly. It was just around 10 or 8 years ago. A lady did a campaign where she took her panties, put a pad on it, and she poured red. That was one of the first times that period was represented as the color that it is.
Yes.
Today, because of that one act, there has been global conversations about the issues that affect us. Do you know that because of this campaign, things like PCOS, what was formerly called polycystic ovarian syndrome, has been changed to PMOS. In fact, before I came here, I watched a video where a woman explained that because women's experiences were undermined by doctors, they kept saying it was PCOS for so long. And it's not something that's affecting just the ovaries. It's affecting our nervous system and our endocrine system. And it's because visibility happened. That's why we have that. And in the past, again, women, pregnancy, they always say, there's a joy of pregnancy. But few people were talking about the risk that comes with pregnancy. Any woman who has given birth knows the risk that comes with pregnancy. So that's why women cherish the children they give birth to. Now, visibility also helps people understand that if I'm going to take this risk, I am taking this risk and I will love that child. That's why it's hard to see a mother treat their child terribly. So visibility matters for us. Look at politics. That few years ago, let's say 30 years ago, the number of women in our political sphere were very few and in between. But today I can count 10, 15 women who are active politicians. That's at the national level. They might still be struggling and having issues, but we can talk about them. And best of all, and the funny side, makeup. The simple thing of makeup. There was a point where makeup was something that women did, and that was where it ended. Now makeup is allowing women make money. We are changing the world. We are improving things. So visibility is allowing women to know that we matter in this world that we are. Very, very important. Because again, if you erase women, they don't think that they matter. We don't think that we matter. But if I can see a girl like me, I am a sports head. I love basketball. I'm following WAFCON right now, following our ladies who play basketball. And I'm like, these are my girls. I'm so excited. My people. Now imagine, you see it?
I wonder how to learn.
Imagine now if we didn't see them, there was no visibility for them. The young girl who is born today might not know that there is a possibility for her. So it's important that we have that visibility.
So I like the way you started the narration with us and carried us along from where we are now and what it used to be back in the day. And I like the fact that you work at an intersection of communication where you bridge the gap to what communication and visibility is. Let's look at the visibility part of it. It can be complicated because you've mentioned where women have their mindsets. It's good to see a woman in this mirror and she's also reflecting a different mirror. So let's talk about the voices of women when they turn to give out their appearances in that digital space where the complication becomes a problem and affects their livelihood and lifestyle. Then I'll get back to asking.
I actually love that very beautiful question because it's a problem that we are dealing with today. So before now, again, like I said, the online space is not a different world. It is reflective of the current world. In our current world, we have beauty standards. Originally, African beauty standards were not the way that white beauty standards were, or Middle Eastern or thereabout. In the past, because we had fattening rooms, if you think of like Akwa Ibom or Cross River, you see? So we had fattening rooms. So our beauty standard was a more voluptuous woman.
Very true.
But over time, with colonialism and all of that, the beauty standard gradually shifted to, you had to be read thin, you had to be a certain way, you had to wear makeup a certain way, you had to dress a certain way, and it was determining how people would live. And all of us are born into this condition. Some of us would, I may go somewhere to Sokoto now, and I might be seen, as all of us dressed like this, very covered, we may be seen as immoral, right? And if we go to somewhere like, I remember the first time I went to Lagos, I went to Allen Avenue. If you know Allen Avenue, I was passing by and I was like, hey, what am I seeing? Because I was born in a society where covering up was the thing. So what is happening in society is also reflected on digital platforms. Some people are trying to force your beauty standard, and that is a really big thing because we are conditioned to expect that beauty standard is the key. All four of us who are online now, before we came on this TV, we wore makeup. We made sure we were looking good and what have you. A man might not necessarily consider all of this because he's conditioned differently. And that's where the problem came, because tech platforms now realized they could capitalize off of our insecurities. Am I fat? Am I supposedly ugly? Am I tall? Am I short? They started capitalizing on that. And early when the tech platforms came, what they started doing was showing girls. So even today, if you go, and I urge everyone who is watching, go to your phone. If you start a new social media platform, what they show girls and women is different from what they show men and boys. So they started capitalizing. Oh, they will show a woman, oh, eat healthy. This is the right weight you should be. This is the kind of makeup you should wear. A man will open and he will see football. He will see something from maybe Andrew Tate or something. And so they're capitalizing on our insecurities, and it has affected a lot of us. Go and see how many girls today who are starving themselves because they want to be skinny, and the way that the beauty standards are. Some people they don't have 5,000 in their account, but they are struggling to get 1 million to get bone straight. I know some celebrities, they do their hair every week. I have sensitive scalp. Even if I wanted to do it, there's no way
the scalp can take it.
My scalp can take it. Now imagine if the beauty standard expects me, oh, Ramat, you need to do your hair every week, you need to wear makeup, you need to change your clothes. There's a trend where some people say they cannot wear their clothes twice. Yes. They can't post their clothes. I'm like, who made clothes you have all money to buy? So these are the things that now affect women, and it's bad because the younger women who are coming in, lots of them do not have the experience. So they don't know how to tell, oh, this thing is going to affect my worth. Anything they see, they want to just accept and run with it. And it puts them in a lot of problems. Some people might decide they're looking for ways to find the money to live a lavish lifestyle. Some of them are taking drugs. I don't want to mention the name, but they say weight loss drug that is selling very fast in Nigeria. It's very fast. I don't want to mention again but they are selling very fast because young girls are being influenced. Somebody will tell you, oh, you need to tone your skin. Why? Look at us. 4 of us have 4 different shades, and we are all beautiful. Why do I need to be light-skinned? Why do I need to be with straight hair? Why? And they are selling. Somebody is selling. There was a time when someone was selling an injectable in the name of vitamins, injectable, and it's not medical personnel that were giving it. Then there were lots of women, girls who were doing, oh, I'm going to get this injectable. Why?
Okay, so I like the fact that you're asking the why. So I'm going straight back to you, why. So you talked about insecurities. That's why I said visibility has its own complications.
Yes.
And then you've given us this narration to all of this. And I like the fact that you talked about the skinny nature. For me personally, I don't like to be too skinny. I love a particular shape of myself and all that. When I get too skinny, I'm eating up. So some people could like it. I think it's preference and all that. And I like what the fashion line in different spaces are doing these days. There's the elegance, big, bold, and beautiful. So it's no longer the Miss something that has to be all skinny. They brought into that. That insecurity is out of the picture. And I tell people also, dieting has to do with yourself. How do you like yourself? Because the truth is, you can never satisfy human beings. Of course. And then when you go to the digital space, which you also at the intersection to talk about, what do you do at your level as a foundation to educate people on, to understand what they put out, how they guide their minds? Because of course you get backlash to things you're putting out. So how do women guide their minds and also prevent themselves from getting influenced with certain things that makes you see yourself in a corner or box yourself into a corner to inferiority complex? I think that's why
that is the word, inferiority complex.
One of the first things that I always tell people is the reason we made our name Shades of Us is because there are multiple shades of us. One of the first things, and insecurity, I need to put this out there, insecurity is natural. Okay. It's natural for us to see people and want to sometimes be like them. Sometimes we want to, there are times, I remember when I first started gaining weight, because I used to be very skinny. When I first started gaining weight, and people were like, oh no, you're gaining weight, you need to drop it. When I wasn't so sure of myself, I was like, is it too much? I was like, if that me saw this me,
you like.
So I got to a point where I first had to tell myself, one, by myself I am okay. Do you know, once young women determine that for themselves, 99% of the ways that people try to push your insecurity will be tossed out of the window.
True. That's true.
The moment you say, by myself, I'm okay, and you talked about the big, bold, there's an active campaign right now to try and erase that particular big, bold, and beautiful movement. But when people know that, look, I am by myself okay. Two, you need to understand that weight is a construct. Yes, of course, weight, when you get bigger and what have you, people say there are health issues. But there are people who are plus size and have never had any health issue. So once you also understand that each of us have our individual health, there's something called in health called the whole of health approach. Where instead of, when you go to the hospital, they weigh you, right? They weigh you first and check your BP. But some people will now use that weight and your BP to determine your entire health. But the whole of health approach is that a doctor is looking at your weight, but he's not just saying, okay, this is your weight. He's saying, okay, what's your regular day like? You now tell him, oh, I exercise, I walk 10 kilometers. He knows that weight is not a problem because you're exercising. Maybe he's asking you and you tell him, oh, I eat all of the required meals, I check my calories. He knows, okay, this weight might be a physiological problem, which is a symptom of something. So he can ask, okay, could it be an endocrine problem? Could it be that, okay, something is wrong? And they can now actually treat you based on the whole of your history, as opposed to just, there was somebody I fought, a doctor. Immediately I just climbed the scale. He said, no, you are too fat. You need to that is the beginning of your problem. And I'm like, I actually told him, I said, sir, you are a terrible doctor and I will never come here again. And I left the hospital. It was until I met another doctor who was practicing this whole of health approach before we realized I had fibroids. I've had to have surgery. So imagine one doctor refusing to treat me when I had fibroids that were growing. So it affects us when these things do not happen. You understand? So when people understand that, look, our health, each of us have, even twins do not have the same health profiles.
Very true.
So once they understand that about themselves, it makes them better. Then the next thing they need to understand is the society always chooses your insecurity over your strength.
Very true.
People will make more money from your insecurity than from your strength. So how about you don't give them that power? It is hard, let me not lie to you. Because I went for an event, and being the biggest plus size girl among all of them, somebody was like, oh, do you consider exercise? I'm like, I do. Funny thing, I walk 10 kilometers. She has never walked 10 kilometers in her life. So you need to understand that people will push you, and say, okay, I'm not going to be pushed. It's harder for younger women, to be honest. Experience teaches us a lot. But for younger women, they are more concerned with what people's perception of them is. So if you find your self-worth by yourself and sit down, and sometimes you might need to cry about it. Cry and say, oh, I'm not happy that the world is throwing this at me. But it does not negate the fact that I am a full, whole, complete human being. And once women do that, and that's what we do with our organization, almost weekly we would always send a post that says, you matter, your mental health matters. And what we are trying to do with that simple text is to say, look, the world is trying to push against you. I hope you can see us standing there saying, you matter and you deserve to be here. Do you know, if we teach young girls that no matter how you come, you are just a shade of us, that they might actually become more confident in themselves. And we have seen that. Many women have become confident. They will tell you, oh, plus, I'd like to use Lizzo, for example. If you remember, Lizzo was a musician, plus size. In fact, she was really big. And they said, oh, she's too big. The first appearance she wore a bomb shot. I'm telling you, the first performance she did, she wore a bomb shot and was a bra-like something. And she said, if the skinny girl can wear it, I can wear it. And yes, she has lost weight because she had some medical issues. She has lost weight over time, but she has maintained that personality. And weight is just one of those areas. Makeup. Do you know, if someone comes in here and doesn't see all of us wearing bone straight, that's another thing. They'll think, oh, who are these women? Why are they not? So you need to look at the various areas where insecurity can come in and say, I am not going to let that affect me. For some people, it's how they dress. For some people, it's what they eat. For some people, it's who they hang out with. For some people, it's who they know. For some other people, is are you doing the trending thing? You know, am I able to go? I know the trending thing in Abuja now is going to the city gate. So another person might, if you are not willing to go, another person might just think, oh, you're not it. So know that people would always capitalize on your insecurity, but know who you are. Once you know who you are, no matter what they do, it will pain. I'm not saying it will not pain you. It will actually pain you, you know. But you will be able to say, this is not who I am, and even if it hurts, I can move on from this.
Fantastic. I won't go now, but let's continue. So, storytelling is central to your work. What makes a woman's story powerful enough to move people from simply watching or reading or actually caring and taking action? I'll say, let me add this. You know, sometimes we're ashamed of our story. We feel the moment I say it, you know, there's just a shame that comes with it. So how have you been able to use storytelling indeed? I'm sure in the midst of all you do, you still tell your own story, which you're already giving us part of right here.
So you see, the fact that I said on this set that I am fat, that's one of the first things.
Yeah.
I learned early on to remove shame. Because shame is a construct that was given to us. And it's always given to women. Think about it. All of the areas of shame is for women.
It's for women.
If you marry and your husband leaves you, it's you that has the shame. If you give birth and the father leaves the children, it's you that has the shame. If you gain weight, it's you that have the shame. If you don't wear makeup, it's you that has. Think about it. I learned early on to remove my shame. I talk, and there are things I say. If my mother hears, she'll be like, what is she talking about? Because she doesn't expect. I come from a conservative family. So imagine my mother seeing me talk about certain things, and she'll just be like, because I'm sure she's proud that what she couldn't do in her generation, like all of her children are able to do in our generation. And that's very important, that we must remove the shame. That's one. Two, nothing that happens to us is something we should be ashamed of. Let me rephrase that. Nothing that happens to us
As women.
is something that we should be ashamed of.
We should be proud of, actually.
Our actions are things that we can be ashamed of. Now, if you go and steal, you should be ashamed. If you lie, if you are corrupt, you should be ashamed. If you kill somebody, you should be ashamed. But if something is done to you, say for example, someone is raped, someone is abused, they took your money, it's not something that is you, it is done to you. Meaning that you are the victim or the survivor in that scenario. As such, it is not something you should be ashamed of. I remember a story, a girl was talking about this one chance problem we're dealing with in Abuja, and she said a girl was raped and the guy just shamed her. I said, how is someone raped? Why is the shame on her? The shame is on the abuser, not on her. So again, let me reiterate. Nothing that is done to you is shameful for you. It's shameful to the person that does it to you, but not for you. So that's what I started doing with our storytelling. We told people, in fact, the first film we made, we're going to make a film about domestic sexual abuse, and we asked people to send in their stories. And let me tell you, we got over 100 stories. We selected and chose 23, and we kept them anonymous. But the first step for them was saying, this is my story. Once you remove that shame, it makes life easier. And for women especially, we need to remove the shame. Because you do any small thing, they say, no be woman. Oh, no be woman. Oh, we need to be at that point where we do not care. You know, I wanted to say recently, but I'm sure one way or the other, they have called us the regular term. And I'm doing this for, regulating organizations. They say Ashawo. If you do any small thing, they call you Ashawo. It's like, why? Why? So a lady, and I will never forget her, she's an activist here in Nigeria. She said that she went, someone bashed her car, and immediately she came out to confront him. He was like, stupid, I have your type at home. And then he called her Ashawo. Guess what she said? And so the man was shocked because he expected by saying that shame would instantly. She said, and so Oga, you go repair my car. And she stayed there until the police came, and he had to pay for the damage that he did. Shame is a powerful tool that is used to control women. And if you use shame, do you know how many women have their mother-in-laws forcing them to refuse cesarean section, even though it's a risk to their life. But shame will not allow them to talk about it. Look at the issue we're having with mental health. Dyslexia, for example. A lot of Nigerian children have dyslexia. That's the inability to, they have reading problems. But in Nigeria, we have that, there's no mental health, there's no madness. That's how they call it. There's no madness in our family.
In our family, that's true.
And what happens is that your child suffers the more because of that shame that you're holding on to. So our stories matter. And if we talk about the stories, we can help more women connect, more women understand. I'm telling you, PCOS will never have been improved to PMOS if women had kept quiet about the things that was happening. Lupita Nyong'o just gave 15 grants on fibroid research. 15 grants to different organizations in the world on fibroid research. I'm especially excited because she talked about removing over 40-something fibroids, different sizes. And how did she do her campaign? Storytelling. She showed different seeds, from big apple to small seeds of how fibroid comes out. And it was storytelling. Do you know how many big funders are now supporting her? And that's improving women's research and women's health. Look at the issue of family planning. You see a woman. There's a woman, I'll never forget her. We met her in Bauchi State while I was working for one of the projects I was on. She had 17 children. I kid you not. Her story can be shared. I can share that video with you, or the documentary that was done on her. She had given birth to 17 children. And shame did not allow her to stop. She was married as a child, and at that point she was just in her 40s and had 17 children.
Wow. So how was she?
Let me tell you, the children were like this. Some of them were twins.
I was trying to get, was it
twins? If you see the
triplets,
let me tell you, I will share the video with you people. This woman, but the moment they now brought up family planning and she heard about family planning, she said, immediately, give me. Because she stopped being ashamed at that point. Her husband would not stop. But in her 40s, she was still fertile. She said she knows she could still have given birth. She immediately took the family planning. That is what saved that woman. There are women like her who have died. So if we maintain that shame, what happens is we will die. There's no two ways about it. Look at the lady now. I'll wrap up with the domestic. The lady, she was a choir singer, she was a gospel singer who died, whose husband killed her. It's shame that kept her in that situation. And she's dead today. So we must talk. We must give our stories. We must know that we are not the only one. That's the first thing. We are not the only one. But we must remove that shame and talk about our stories.
It's good that you're trying to help us change the narrative of things, because just like you're using storytelling to tell us the story, it's the best way to live. Because the truth is, shame has played deep into women's life. Because I've seen scenarios where people were raped, families will say, hide it, it's not our family here that we got you raped, you know.
You will not marry.
You will not marry.
You know,
talk about it. The man will say, like, my wife was raped, you know. You know, we've seen different stories on social media space where husbands came out to say, you raped my wife, I'm going to fight you, you know, all of that. Well, social media is supposed to be a place where it's a sharing of experience of people, but sometimes some things, like they say, don't believe everything you see on social media. Some people try to put out content for the essence of making money, and it's actually a problem. We often say that social media gives everyone a voice, but having a voice is one thing. Being taken seriously is another thing. Why do you think women still have to fight for credibility online, particularly when it comes to discussing issues of politics, governance, business, all that traditionally male-dominated issues? Because women are seen to be the weaker vessel, and so they feel everything around the world. You need to prove your worth. You keep proving yourself every time that what I'm saying is real. Just like you mentioned, the woman that had 17 children. What makes it difficult for her to stand up to herself, you know, come out to tell the story? This man want to kill me. Literally. Because You're talking. I was asking
How
if
did you get
if you were triplets, because the mental state of a man when you have just one child
Exactly.
is a lot. Not so got 70, and trust me, some men will leave you that child,
And get another wife.
and get another wife, and the woman, and that woman will go through the same mental torture. So when do we need to get the media space?
How can we
Or how can we even walk around it that people can trust our story?
Yeah.
Because you trusted our story, that's why you're sharing it, and also speaking for other women to be safe. Let's talk about that.
It starts with what you're doing right now.
Okay.
I always like to tell, whenever I'm on any media engagement, I always say the work you're doing is extremely important.
Yeah, thank you.
If you remember when we were growing up, we had Abike Dabiri when she was still
Yes.
in NTA. She had all of us sitting in front, and she was not just reading the news, she was shaping the morality of the nation at that point. That news line, 9 p.m. NTA that time. The same thing you're doing. So a girl and a lady and a woman who is watching you right now might say, oh, maybe I should remove shame. Right now, somebody's perspective is being changed. Right now, somebody, and I'm going to use my personal story. Oprah Winfrey, I was watching her, I was 8 years old. I was watching Oprah Winfrey because my mom loved Oprah Winfrey that year, so she always watched. I was watching her. Oprah talked about the first time she was raped. And I was shocked, but that was the first time I knew I can address this. So somebody's life currently is being changed, and we must keep at it. Okay. Secondly, we ourselves must refuse to what's the word now?
Victimized?
Be invisible.
Okay.
In our personal lives. If you, for example, there's something my mom used to say that then when they were younger, if you buy, maybe your husband doesn't have money, you go and give him the money, then he will come home and give it to you. Till today, I know some women who deal with that. So if you are the one who is buying things at home, there's nothing wrong for your children to know. Because it starts from home. Invisibility starts from home. There's a girl, TikTok girl. She just came across my timeline, and I loved what she said. I shared it everywhere. And what did she say? She said people call men providers, but they call women support. How is someone doing the same thing, support, but the other person is provider? And she talked about how some of you think about it. Remember, it's your mother who was buying this bread, this. Say, why is that support and not provision? The fact is that is provision.
That's true.
So from the home, let us remove that erasure of women. If I buy bread, there's nothing wrong with saying, okay, go and buy bread. Let them know that mommy is contributing to this house as a provider. That's one. When you go out into the community, you need to, I used to be an intelligent child. I don't think I'm very intelligent now. I used to come first. And I was telling someone that there's someone who came second. I was so mad. He said, how can a girl beat him? I said, guy, go get this first till I graduate. And truly, he didn't see that first till I graduated from, primary school. Because he wanted to erase me. We both put in the same work. It's just that I got better scores than you. Why do you think that because I am a girl, something terrible happened to you? And that's why I'm a loud mouth. Because people say women are supposed to be demure, gentle, quiet. I don't have that gene in my body. I am. If I go anywhere, you will know my voice. So I try not to erase myself, and my team is made up of 90% women. When we do production, unless absolutely we don't have a woman who can do the production as a crew, we make sure it's women that are there, unless maybe something is happening and we don't have. And I tell women on my team, I say, let me tell you, as much as you're working for me, you are building your own life. I tell everybody, put your work on social media, let people be seeing you so that you get new opportunities. And another thing is, once you also see someone that is good, appreciate them. So what we do is we also think about women. We can do spotlights for women. We have something called People Like Us. We just do regular story. I can just pick you now and say, wow, you're a journalist, you're a broadcaster. Let's talk. We put up your story. Let people see. You don't have to be for like Lakija or Michelle Obama. Be a regular woman. Let us see more regular women who are doing things my sister who is here even with me, she's an amazing social media person. She's an amazing communicator, amazing program officer. And if you see when I go to her page, I share her work and I'm like, this is brilliant, because we need more people to see that we are all exceptional. And for you too, even as you're here in the station, you don't limit yourself. There are times when you say, oh, we want to talk. It's not just on women program. On politics, if you bring me for politics, I can talk politics. So you say, put your voice out there. That's why till tomorrow I like Natasha Akpoti. I love Natasha Akpoti because she has shown that, look, if you touch me, I will talk. And that, even whether she's right or wrong, as long as she talks, she has a big future for herself. I read recently about Patricia Ete and how somebody wrote about how they had done a lot of things. If you see where Patricia is leading now, because she had refused to keep quiet. That keeping quiet is causing us problems. So we need to have that ability to speak from our homes first, for ourselves next, then for the general public.
So
let's establish that visibility is not something it is quite important. But we'll go for a quick break right now. We'll go for a quick break. Like we said, visibility is not something we should limit ourselves to, right? It's not about being seen. It's about creating space for women's ideas, experiences, and expertise to enter conversations that shape society.
And importantly, the digital platforms can be powerful tools, but women need to use them intentionally. That's what I was about asking, but let's go to this break. And the goal is not simply more about followers, it is credibility, connection, opportunity, and also the impact that they need to give back to the society.
Exactly, Aniti. We'll take another short break now. When we return, we will move from visibility to influence. How women can use storytelling, digital communication, and online platform to shape public opinion, influence policies, grow careers and businesses, and create meaningful social change. Stay with us right after the break. Don't go away.
How long women were told to stay quiet, to endure in silence, to face challenges alone. But silence never define us.
Women are actually one of the best peace builders you can come across, because they will build peace in the home front, they will build with their children, they will build in the community, they will build at their meetings and in their churches.
Across Nigeria and beyond, women are breaking barriers, from entrepreneurs building thriving businesses to mothers transforming communities to everyday women.
Women's World celebrates all sides of womanhood. We share untold stories of women from pain to victory.
This is more than a show, it is a platform for women to be seen, heard, and to be empowered.
Every story matters. Every voice counts because women are empowered to change families, communities, and the nation.
Join us as we showcase women's untold stories.
From pain to victory.
This is Women's World on Global Television.
Your story, your health, your power.
Welcome back. It's still Women's World. In our first conversation, we looked at the importance of women being visible and having the confidence to occupy digital space. But now we want to go further, because what happens after people see you? How do you turn attention into trust, trust into influence, and influence into actual change?
Kike, of course, this is particularly important because digital platforms are now influencing our daily lives. Everything we do, from consumption behavior to political conversations and also public policy. Women are not simply participating in these conversations anymore. They have the opportunity to help shape them also guide people to run all of this, Priscilla.
Yeah, still with us is Ramatu Ada Ochekli, Communications and Social Change Strategist, and the founder of Shades of Us. Let's continue. So, when a woman has a large following online, does that automatically mean she has social influence? Or is there a deeper level of influence we should be looking at?
Okay, so I want to mention a girl, and I hope she watches this someday. Her name is Nance.
Okay.
Her social media name is Nance.
Okay.
She started by just critiquing Nigerian politics, critiquing Nigerian issues, just every day. She has grown into a huge following, and even if she has influence on nobody, she has influence on me. I want to talk about her because this lady talked about the issue happening with former AGF, is it AGF Malami? And she talked about the money the EFCC is requesting him to. And for me, before I watched her video, I had seen that news, but it was just EFCC is demanding he returns this money.
Yeah.
She did a breakdown of Kebbi State. He's from Kebbi State. She did a breakdown of Kebbi State budget for the last 5 years, and how the money they're asking him to return is more than what Kebbi State had for 5 years.
The Kebbi State government as a whole, as a government. Wow.
And she made me think that, Ramat, you can actually do analysis in a different way. If somebody steals our money, our collective money, and I'm not saying he stole a we need to look at how he affects the woman that is on the street, the woman that is on the street, the child that is on the street. There's another analysis she did about how it was like a series. One was look at the government budget. Another was look at the education budget. Look at Kebbi State has one of the highest number of out-of-school children. The amount of money required to address the issue of out-of-school children can be taken out of that money that he is requested to return to the government. And if, like I said, if nothing else, she influenced me. And I know millions of people are influenced by her. She's a lawyer. She just became a lawyer about 2 weeks ago. That is one person influence that made me say, okay, I need to address storytelling from a different angle, different perspective, right? It's not just the money. There's Mrs. Hansa too. She's really known and popular, but there are clips of her that have come online where she's encouraging women for business. Do you know that millions of women are being influenced to do better business? There is, for the life of me, I'm struggling to remember her name. Ibukun. Yes, she's a businesswoman. She was in church and she was talking to her congregation. And she wasn't telling them, she was telling women in abusive situations why they needed to protect themselves. Usually, in the church, they'll tell you, stay, believe in the Lord, pray, fast, do. She told them, you need to protect yourself. And because she did that, she said something, you have to have a will as a woman. Let me tell you, all my life, I have never thought of having a will until I heard her say that. If I want to look at, I'm trying to remember who, the owner of Bella Naija, for example. Bella Naija revolutionized the wedding industry in the whole of Nigeria and Africa. What's her name? Uche Pedro. She used digital platform to influence. Before, nobody wanted to snap their do wedding and have Bella Naija coverage. There was a time between 2010 and 2015. Every rich person's goal was for Bella Naija to be on Bella Naija. Some of the wedding culture, it is because we saw it on Bella Naija. Some of our cultures were not, we didn't have certain things. In the Doma culture, you just wear your red and black and you go. But now, do you know that there are businesses that sprang up because of Bella Naija? And what was interior decoration? There's this new thing, catering. Those things were there, but they improved. Do you know there's the thing that sprang out of Bella Naija that shocked me? You know these Dorime?
All those things.
They were never in Nigerian wedding culture. Yeah. Now you go to any wedding, if they just have small money, you see they will come and do dress change. Dress change was not a thing when we were growing up. But now you cannot do wedding with one outfit. No. You have to do multiple outfits. Using digital media, using digital platform to influence nations. It's not just because people watch Nigerian wedding and they're like, oh my God, Nigerians. Do you know if you go to Zambia, they copy Nigerian style? Yes. Yeah. Because one woman said, I want to document Nigerian weddings. Actually. Look at pre-wedding photo.
It's something else. They even give you positioning to stand.
How to stand.
And photography is making it now with digital.
Do you know what is now trending? Pre-wedding videos. Concept, like a full concept. I say we keep making money. I saw a concept where the guy, it was so beautiful. Then at the end, he threw his ring. Then the ring spun, and then he showed, as he was spinning, he was showing the couples different pictures inside the ring. Then he came and landed on her. I was like, hey. You know, using digital media platform. Funke Akindele, who is one of the biggest, if not the biggest filmmaker in Nigeria at this moment in terms of the money she makes. People, when she makes a film, Christmas, we were singing, what was that there? Christmas, indeed. We were all singing it, you know, and she's using it to not just make money for herself, she's account for people, because if you work with Funke Akindele, your money will come.
Of course.
Kemi Adetiba, completely different. Not once had we had a female gangster like Shola Shobowale as Salami in King of Boys, which was to show the duplicity of the way that we are different shades of women. Do you know some gangsters were even coming out as a result of that? Do we know there's a female king? Not king, she's there's a particular term for it, I've forgotten. Very few people talk about it. But the current wife of the what's his title of Warri? I think it's the Olu of Warri, right? She did a just last week, she did a magazine, what do you call it, spread. And she was doing all those poses, face, hand. I'm telling you, all the wives of the rest of the kings, they are going to do that.
You know, as I said, photography is also coming to take over with digital skills and all that. So I like the fact that you mentioned all of this. And if we keep talking, we will not leave here. I'm sorry. I like the fact that because women need to be visible. I like the fact that I bring a whole new dimension to how women need to see themselves. Because there's a picture, the patriotic mindset about women in Africa's space is a problem. And I'm really excited social media or the digital space is actually remolding all of that.
I love that word. Remolding. I think I will use that word in the write-up.
So I think it's remolding, and women are beginning to understand how to stand tall and do the right thing. I think with platforms like yours, like you said, Shades of Us, it will also guide women, young girls, to redefine themselves, redefine their message. It's not about, I'm not against dancing, I love to dance, but we need to dance and send it as a message, just like you mentioned Funke Akindele, using that to tell her story. And influence decision. I think we also need to start walking around from your work, while we do ours on advocacy and, talk about enlightenment for people. Maybe from your work, you need to start telling people how to put their story in good perspective, through good narrative, because that's one thing I always talk to ourselves as journalists or as broadcasters, that storytelling narratives need to be molded properly. So the digital space can recognize women's visibility through the content and not just context. Your content needs to be rich. It needs to be there to teach and guide people. Really, and kudos to your job. Amazing job that you're doing, Kike.
Before I let you go, looking at your work, looking ahead, what do you believe the future of women digital influence in Africa could look like if women become more intentional about their storytelling, technology, communication, as well as leadership?
Okay, in 1 minute.
In 1 minute.
I was at a session recently with women across room, we had 4 women who were tech founders. 20 years ago, that would not have been the case. Sure. So I want you to tell your story. Again, 30 years ago, we could have 1 woman in this room, and even though it's a women's program, we would have had men on this panel. But look at 4 women influencing their power. So let us keep doing our thing. Wherever you are, whatever the space, just focus on that thing you want to do and do it excellently.
Thank you so much. I like the way that you kept the 1 minute. Well, interesting. This conversation has reminded us of the fact that visibility is powerful. Also, without purpose, can easily become noise, and it's something we need to work on, Priscilla.
Yeah, we've also learned that women can use digital platforms not only to tell their stories, but to build businesses, to create communities, to influence policies, and to contribute to meaningful social change.
All right, at Women's World, we believe women deserve more than a seat in the audience. They deserve the opportunity to speak, to be heard, and to influence the conversation, and to help shape the decision that affects their lives and communities. Thank you so much, Rama.
Thank you. And I forgot to say this earlier on, but you all look really beautiful.
Thank you.
And thank you for the work that you are doing.
Thank you so much. You're welcome as well.
Until next time, this is Women's World on Global Television, channel 365 on DSTV and 276 on Star Times. To stay connected, kindly follow us on all our social media platforms using @GlobalTVNG. And we are also on Free TV. I am Kike Lomo Okere with my co-hosts.
I am Anita Patrick. Thank you for being with us.
Priscilla Obasi, thank you so much for tuning in.
And that's it. Bye.
Bye.